Today, what I really want to go over, for those of you that have not seen Financial Sense before, I want to go over a good overview of what the platform does. And for those of you that have seen it, don't hop off. We've got some pretty cool features that I'm going to talk about today as well. Some of the newest ones that we've released, such as Recat and some of the Google Drive and OneDrive integration as well. So there'll be a little bit of everything, a little bit of something in here for everyone, whether you've seen it before, whether you're a current customer, or whether it's your first time ever looking at Financial Sense. So to kind of get us started, because we're primarily focused on the accounting space, right? That's our target goal. Our target customers are the accountants, bookkeepers, such as you guys. So when you talk about workflow management, that's really what Financial Sense was built for. It's really what we're all about. So we've created a platform that is going to allow you guys that ability to manage your workflow, but at the same time integrate with things like your email, things like your Google Drive. Give you guys a nice place for your clients to be able to go in and upload documents, things, place that you guys can actually request specific information and get that information back, or even a place to be able to send out things. And I'm actually about to share my screen, Bill, so we'll be on in just a second to actually show the screen. But going into the actual demo, what I want you guys to understand is the system is very fluid. We can customize it multiple different ways. So as we come up, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Casey's going to let me know before I hop off of a section if there's any questions around it. So we'll jump in and we can actually help answer some of those questions. So to get us started, I'm going to share my screen. So everybody should be able to see my screen here. This is what we call the workflow dashboard, right? So this is kind of your home screen. When you first log into Financial Sense, this is really what you're going to see. And just to make sure, can someone put in the chat for me whether or not you're able to see the screen? All right, perfect. So the primary purpose of this page is to give you guys a holistic view of what's happening within the firm. As firm owners, you guys would be able to see everything. If you're coming in as just a regular employee, that the permission, and we set the permissions in a certain way, you won't necessarily be able to see everything, but you'll be able to see everything that you need to. So just by looking at this page right here, I can actually tell we have 60 projects total across the entire organization that we're currently working on. I've logged in as an admin on the account or as an owner on the account, so I can see everything. Now, these filters that we see up here are going to allow us to filter this down to be able to see specifically what we want to. And then we can even save different reports and call them whatever we want so that we can quickly access those and we don't have to go through the filters every single time we want to see, a certain set of filters, right? But down here, when we're actually looking at these projects, we're going to be able to tell who our client is, what the project is, the time frame for that project, and if we have any tags on that project, we'll be able to tell that as well, and we'll be able to see what those tags are and what they're for. So this is really to tell us a story. So if we're looking at this, I can tell that for Adeline Collins, we have a monthly bookkeeping for February of 2024 that we still need to complete. We've received everything back that we've requested from the client, and it's currently in the process stage. We've completed 5 out of our 8 tasks, and internally we've communicated about this 10 times. If I click on the actual link there, it's going to pop up that communication. So I can actually look at this and see where Anthony mentioned Blessing and asked her what the status was, or where I actually asked Simone if she can respond to something, right? And we can see all of our communication going back and forth. You even see here that Blessing actually put a link in here that takes us to somewhere else to be able to see whatever it is that she needs us to see. So we can customize this in all sorts of different ways, but all that messaging is right here. And I didn't have to go deep into the project to go find it, right? It's visible to me right here off the dashboard. I can also look at this and be able to see, we said that the client info has been received. Well, if we look at this, we sent out two items that we requested from the client. We got 2 back. There's a little red dot next to it letting me know that something new is here, something that I haven't seen before, right? And if I click in here, it actually takes me straight into the project, directly into the request that I sent out to the client, right? So it's a nice feature because it takes you straight to where you need to go, but it's allowing you to see exactly what you need to see. Now we also have our start dates, internal due dates, actual due dates, assignees. You can customize these columns that you see here by coming up to the settings, and you can even add other things like actual time versus budgeted time. So I can actually tell we budgeted 4 hours for this project. We've spent 39 hours and 39 hours and 30 minutes on this, right? So I can actually look at this and tell exactly where we're at. And hey, there's probably a problem here because we've gone way over our budgeted amount. So again, you can customize that. You can move these around to different sections if you want, and see exactly what you want. Now, on here, this project is currently sitting up at the top because it's currently overdue, right? If it didn't have a due date, it would be sitting over this. So you can actually see the system is designed in a way where anything that doesn't have a due date shows up first. Anything that is due next is going to show up next, or anything that's overdue is going to show up next, and then anything that's due today, tomorrow, next week, and so on will show up after. And again, over here on the assignees, you're able to see who it's currently assigned to, so I know whose desk it's currently sitting on. Or I could adjust this to say, show me everyone that's assigned to this project, and it will actually show me all of my employees that are assigned to it. All right, it's just a little more helpful, in my opinion, to use the current assignees because it tells you whose desk it's sitting on. If you go into the actual project, you'll be able to see all of our tasks. So these are everything that we have internal. You can see who our employee is that's assigned to the work, as well as who's assigned to it, like who is assigned to these different tasks. So right now, because I've already completed all my tasks, it's currently sitting with Sharam. When I checked off that I completed this task, I don't have to go in and actually notify Sharam. Just by checking it off, the system's going to notify Sharam. He'll both get that notification in app, as well as he can get it in an email. Not to mention, it's going to show up on his work report, so he's going to know that, hey, I've got this to take care of. Okay. You guys will notice in here we got these little lightning bolts. This is letting me know that there's automations that are active on this particular task. So if you go inside of a task, you'll see you can have a description, you can have subtasks, you can actually add task automations. So in this case, I've set it up to where when this task is complete, it removes the in preparation tag and adds the in process tag. I also have a separate automation which is available to you guys on the scale plan. This one allows for you to say, when this task is complete, I want the system to automatically send out an email. So I'm going to remove this to show you guys how to set that up. It's pretty simple. You just say add task automation, and you select that when this task is complete, you want the system to send an email to the client. You can also build this out as a part of the template as well. But in this case, I'm going to come in and pick the email that I want the system to send out. You can customize these emails by coming up here and saying manage your email templates and then customizing it to say whatever you want, right? In this case, I'm just going to pick this particular email. So I can say when this task is complete, send out this particular email to, and then you can list all of your contacts. You can select them all, or you can select certain ones. And you can also do that in the template. When I go ahead and hit save, now anytime I actually complete this task, and check it off, you see that it's going to say, hey, we're about to send an email to the client. You sure you want to check off that task? So once you hit confirm, it sends out the email as well as goes ahead and lets the next person in line know that, hey, this next task is ready for you to start working on. So some pretty cool functionality in there. We also have the dependencies, which allows for you to say this task is dependent on reviewing accounts receivable having been complete. So what that means is if this is not checked off, this cannot be checked off, right? So it avoids that ability, or it avoids people skipping steps. The other thing that does is in here, you notice I have it set to where this task, reconciling the accounts, is due 5 days after reviewing accounts receivable. I can adjust this by coming in here and clicking up and down, right? But what that means is when I complete this, the due date for this task is going to adjust. So just by completing this, instead of this saying March 30th, we're going to see it adjusted to the 31st. So it actually knows that already. So this is a good time for me to stop and see if there's any questions so far before we move on to the client tasks functionality. So has anybody got any questions that we need to go over, Casey?
All good, George.
Actually, I see one in here from Amanda where it says, can an account owner give admin permissions to one of her employees so someone else can create tags, etc.? Absolutely, Amanda. You can have multiple people either as admin permission or as owner permission. It's completely up to you. And Lori's asking, does the system automatically note that the client request was received, or does someone have to manually confirm? So the client request we're about to jump into, so appreciate you asking that now because that's exactly where we're going. So when you go into the client request, when you create a project, right? So, if you think about these projects, all these can be created from templates. So I can either create it from scratch, I can create it from a template. Either way, if I create it from a template, when I go look, it shows me my template library. And I've got multiple different ones. You can create as many different ones in here as you'd like, but you can have them for all different types of services, client onboardings, staff onboarding, bookkeeping, payroll, tax, whatever it is that you're doing. But the idea behind a project, right, is that when I say I want to use this particular project, it creates the list of tasks that we need to do, but it can also create the list of tasks that your client needs to do, right? But not every client is going to be the same. Some clients you're having to ask them to manually upload their documents to you, like their statements. Some clients you get that on automatic bank feed. So you can actually customize these templates. So when you create the template, it's there as an outline. But once you created it for that particular client, then you're going to go and customize it to be specific to that client. So for this client, I can actually create my own customized list, or I can use the one that gets created. In this case, it was already done. I'm going to remove these to say, hey, we haven't actually, I'm going to start a new set. So I can actually ask for things like, I can ask the client to upload your bank statement. I can ask them to maybe upload a credit card statement. I can also do things like ask them to sign or ask them to schedule a call with us or something along those lines. So I can say, schedule your next call or sign. So in this case, when I'm asking them to schedule their next call with me, well, if I'm using something like Calendly or some other scheduling tool, what I can actually do here is I can actually say manage upload or manage a client uploads. I can say client or customize upload destination. Instead of making this an upload button, I want to actually call this schedule call. All right. So I can go and type that in, and then I can actually go grab my URL to whatever it is. I already have mine saved in here. So I'm just going to put that in, and we'll go ahead and hit save. Right. And so now whenever I request this from the client, when they go click the upload button, it's going to take them straight to the calendar. And we'll see that in just a second. On this one, I'm actually asking them to sign something. So I can actually say request signature, and then I can actually come in here and upload whatever document it is that I want them to sign. And let's just go. Yeah. I can select who I want my signers to be. I can select any, and if I have multiple signers, I can check off multiple people. All right. If I need to turn on KVAs or passwords, I can do that as well. And I can also come in here and select who on my team I want to be a signer as well, if need be, right? Once I go ahead and say upload to Adobe, this works with the Adobe integration. So it actually brings Adobe into Financial Sense, pulls all the information into it, and then I can either go ahead and place my signature where I want it, or if this had been a template, I could have actually saved the location of this as a template, and it would remember that. So it'll auto place those signatures for me as well. But once I go ahead and hit send, it kicks it off. We're ready to go ahead and send this all out to the client. So I can go ahead and say manage notifications. And before I go send this out, I want to go over a couple things. The automated notifications feature is part of the scale plan. And what this allows you to do is say, on this day, if the client hasn't responded and completed these tasks, I want you to send out a reminder. Then I can also tell it every X amount of days thereafter, send a reminder. So it's what I call the auto nag feature. It's really called auto reminders, but this will automatically nag your client for you. No one on your team has to remember to go keep up with the client, right? Once the client completes all their tasks, it will automatically stop that as long as they check off that they've completed those tasks. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we get into the client portal. Before we jump over here to send out the notification, if you're on the scale plan, you also have the ability to create your own notifications so you can make them look and say whatever you want, right? I've got one customer that asked me to write it up in French, so we did. So you can do it in all sorts of different ways and create your own customized templates. You can do that by coming in here and saying manage templates and then creating as you need. You can also select to send this out to multiple contacts of that client site. So if I've got ABC company and I've got 5 people over there, I can pick which of those 5 people are going to get this notification, or if I'm going to send it out to multiples, I can do that as well. The representative allows you to say, this is the person on my team that I want the client to that I want to get the notification when the client completes this, or I want the client to I want it to look like it's coming from this person, right? So in this case, I've selected Will. I can come in here and select any one of my other employees, but I can go ahead and select Will on this one. And when I hit send the one-time notification and it shoots it out, it now has sent that notification out. You can also make this an automated process when you create it through the template. And we can talk about that on a one-on-one if you guys want. But from here, the client is now going to get an email. That email is going to look something like this, where it actually lists out everything that we've asked them for. When they click and view and manage tasks, it's going to take them straight into the portal if they're already signed in. If they're not signed in, when they click on the task or view and manage tasks, it says we need to verify your identity, and then it sends them either a text message or an email verification code so that they can then log into the system. So there is no username, there is no password that they have to remember. The system will actually verify them by sending them a text message verification code or an email verification code if they choose to turn that on. From here, you can see they have a place where they can see all the requests that we've sent them. So in this case, I've said, please upload your bank statements. They can click on attach documents and then come in and start uploading those bank statements, right? Same here. They can upload their Visa statement or whatever it is. On this one, since we told it that we want them to schedule the call, when they click on this, it actually takes them to go schedule that meeting. So they can go to my Calendly page or whatever and actually start booking that meeting, right? You'll notice on here as they do this, the system's going to say, hey, make sure you mark these complete when you're done. So as the client completes these, we see it on our end, those tasks are showing as complete. Okay. Lastly, on this one, we asked the client to sign it. So they did get an email asking them to sign it in here, but they can also come into the portal and just click on sign document to come in and sign that document as well. So I go ahead and continue, start, sign the document. Once they complete this, it takes it about a minute, but after about a minute, we're going to see that it's going to automatically check that all for them, and the signed copy is going to land back in here. So that both the client has a copy of it, as well as you have a copy of it, and they're able to see what they need to. So it usually takes about a minute. We'll see if I got lucky. It already shows that it's been signed, so they don't have to worry about it. But we'll give it just a second here, and we'll see that it'll come back. All right, and on our end, when we refresh this, so now that it actually came back on our end, you notice that it checked this off, and you notice that the waiting on client tag went away. It actually automatically updated it to client info receipt. That way you guys don't have to remember to go in and do that. So Any questions around this? Let me check the chat bot or chat here and see if, Casey, if you have any questions that came up.
Yeah, I had one from Lisa. It was, if you update an existing template, will it push the changes to the current projects using that template? Or do you need to edit all existing projects that use that template?
So that's a great question. We actually used to, you would have to go in and manually do that. We actually just recently released a update that says when you update a template, you can actually tell it to go push it to all existing templates as well, or existing projects that use that template. So the answer now is you can update it in the project template, and then you can actually go in and tell it to push that to all existing occurrences already.
And then George, one more quick question. Got a couple questions in here about dependencies. If you don't mind just showing a task and how you can select a dependency for those tasks.
So on a client task, you can't actually create a dependency on a client task. The dependencies come in on the internal task only. Okay. So, and to set those up, you just go to the task and select the dependency. If it doesn't already exist, you can actually just come in here and say edit dependency and then pick the one you want it to be dependent upon. And then from here, you can actually adjust the time frame, and or you can just edit the dependency and tell it what you want it to be. So, and I think I saw one other question that was in here about the Adobe Sign integration. The Adobe Sign integration, you do have to acquire your own Adobe Sign integration. Most people already have one if they have Adobe Pro, but it's up to you guys on which account you want to go with. They have a couple different options. And we are going to be building some different integrations with other signature platforms in the future. Right now, it's just the Adobe Sign. It's the one that we've chosen to move forward with. And for the automated emails to clients, can that include PDF reports in the email as well? So Kathy, as of right now, no, it's not going to include an attachment. However, what you can do is actually put a link to the client portal in the system. If you guys notice in the client portal, the client has the option to go to their requests, right? And they can see all open requests as well as any completed requests. They also have the option to go to their documents section. Now, in this particular case, this contact, I've given them access to both Adeline and Alfonso. So if they go to Adeline, they're able to see certain folders. And in those folders, they can actually come in here and see different documents that we placed in here, right? They can either preview it and then download it or print it, or they can come in here, see what they need to. They can download or print wherever. They can also, if you've given them permission in that particular folder, they will be able to upload directly into that folder. So of course they have the ability to upload in the requests, but that's if you're asking them for something. If you didn't ask them for a document, but let's say they get a letter from the IRS that they need you to look at, well, then they can come in here to a specific folder and upload those documents. So pretty nice functionality there. So what you can do is in that email, you can actually put a link to that in the folder. And what I have a lot of clients do is, they might come in here and create like an email that goes out after they check off that the client info was received, that goes out to the client saying, hey, Mr. Customer, we appreciate you sending everything over. We're going to take a look at it. We'll let you know if we have any questions. But then when the report is complete, they might say, hey, Mr. Customer, we've completed your report for your monthly bookkeeping for February. Please click here, and they'll put a link to the portal that'll take them straight to that documents folder where everything's sitting, so that you can say, please click here to access your reports. And then the client just clicks on it, takes them into the portal. They're able to see all their documents, and then they can choose whether they want to download them or not. And I believe there was a question that asked, is the portal available on mobile? So yes, it works really well on the iPhones and Androids. We don't have an iPhone or Android app, but it is actually built to work on the browser. So it's very simple for them to be able to access. So From here, what I also want to talk to you guys about, we talked a little bit about it earlier. There's a team chat where you guys are able to actually come in here and communicate internally. You can put links in here to take people to other places if they need to see certain things. While you're also in here, you can create files that are either recurring or non-recurring with the actual project. So this, like if I've got a SOP that I want to put in here that always, every time I create this project, it automatically comes and recurs. You can have that come in. Or if there's a certain document that I just want to save with this particular project, I can do that as well. You also have the time tracking, which will, if I am tracking time against this client, I can either start a timer and manually track time, or I'm sorry, start a timer and actually have a timer running, or I can do a manual entry and track time as well. Either way, if I come in here and say, hey, I worked 2 hours today, it already knows this is monthly bookkeeping for Adeline Collins, so it knows that I charge her $50 an hour. If I pick a different service item, it'll know to charge at a different rate, right? But I can come in and put my notes in. And let's just put in 12:29, which is what time it is here in Houston. And when I add, the reason I put that note in here is because now you see that time tracked here. But that time doesn't just track in here, which allows me to see it in all my reports, right? But it also it automatically goes to QuickBooks. So if I come in here and look at my time activity reports, I can look at this by either employee or by customer. Either way, whenever I look at this, we see that time that I just tracked for Adeline will show up here. Okay. Not only that, oh, there it is right there. Not only that, but that time also pulls over in my invoices. So when I go create an invoice for Adeline, as soon as I select Adeline, all the time that we've tracked against this customer populates for me over here. So I can actually see that listed here, and I can come in, add that time in, so that it starts to build up my invoice. And then I can save and send that out. I can either do this individually, or I can group them all together, or I could just add them all individually. It's up to you. But either way, I've got my invoice. I go ahead and I hit save and send it out to the client. They make payment. It updates QuickBooks. So pretty simple, pretty easy there, because it's just a quick, easy integration, but it allows for that those times to automatically push to where you need to go. You can also see the reports in QuickBooks, and you can also track time against for your employees to know how much you need to pay them, because it does integrate with it. If you push it into QuickBooks Online, it'll push the QuickBooks Time or QuickBooks Payroll, whatever it is that you need to do. From here, when you go look at an actual client, so if I'm looking at what's called the client dashboard, here's a list of all my clients. I can actually have all my different fields that I need listed over here, and you can create your own fields when you're inside of the client. So if I come in here in the client, I can actually go to the about section and I can make up whatever fields I want, which allows me to make these searchable. And you can edit those fields, say manage fields, and create whatever ones you'd like. You notice that I've got quite a few here, but not all of them are showing up for the client because it only shows up the ones that actually have information. So if I don't need that field for that client and I leave it blank, it won't show up for that client. So we can customize this quite a bit. This page that we're looking at is what we call the client dashboard. This allows you guys to see everything going on with the client. So I can look at this client and realize we've got her February, March, or January, February, and March bookkeeping projects that we still have going, right? So I can see I've got 3 of those monthly bookkeeping and the payroll that are running. So I can actually look at this, be able to tell exactly when they're for and what I need to do on them. I can also look at the client notes and see any notes that we have on the client. You want to see this in a bigger screen, just click on the notes section here, and you can see all your notes here, right? Or you could have clicked right down here where it says view all. This shows me any recent documents that have come into the system. This shows me client tasks that are still outstanding. So I'm still waiting on Adeline to complete these 5 things. I also have this recent activity where it showed me I closed this project, right? I closed these 2 different projects. I logged time against this. If I hit view all, it takes me to the activity section up here. I can see my client's attitude the last time we spoke to them. I can see my effective hourly rate, how much we billed them, and how much time we tracked, all within this time frame. These are not going to be visible to all of your employees. This will only be visible to the people that you select, right? Which is going to generally be the owners or the admins on the account. Not every employee needs to see this. But they will see the client attitude last time they connected and how much total time has been tracked against the client. You can also do things like add notes. You can tag other employees in here. You can actually put that contact. So the last time we contacted the customer, we can say whether they were happy, neutral, or unhappy, right? And put our notes in here as to why. Very helpful because you don't want to be the person that calls the customer thinking they're happy and realize that they're really upset, right? Especially if you're calling them to ask for payment or something along those lines, right? And you don't know that we missed this deadline. This is all going to help out with that. You also have what we call the client vault, one of my favorite features in the system because it allows for a very secure section within its added security inside of the system that says, hey, not everyone gets access to this, but I need to put things in here like the username and password for my client's Bank of America account. Not only that, but I can put a link in here so that it takes me straight to it. So I can go ahead and sign in. I can also put things like the credit card information or whatever fields you want to put in that's sensitive that you don't want every employee having access to, you can put that here. Okay. The next piece is one of our newest features, and this is the one that I was excited to show you guys today because this is what we call recap, right? And the recap feature allows for you guys to connect that customer's QuickBooks Online account to Financial Sense. Financial Sense will then pull all of the uncategorized transactions from whatever accounts you choose. You can pick all the different ones that you want. But what's going to happen here is it'll pull that information in. I can decide to share that with the client. And then I can actually have the client upload attachments to me. And then when we approve it, it goes in and updates QuickBooks. So what this is going to do, like if we look at this one as an example, right? I got this thing that they bought from Best Buy for $5,819.28 on March 21st. I don't know what it's for. I can actually say share this with the client and I can send out that notification to the client. On the client side, they're going to get an email. Oh, it's helpful if I select the right one. Let's do that first. So you can right here, you can select which contacts get these notifications and which employees get notified whenever they're complete. So again, I'm going to come in here and share. It was, let's see, it was this one right here. So I'm going to share that with the client. And I'll go ahead and send out that notification. So the client will get a notification that's saying, oh, here. Please categorize these transactions. They hit view transactions in the portal. It adds a new section called transactions, shows them all the things that we need them to categorize. They can come in here and look at it, put in whatever they need to. So they can come in and say, you know, purchase new desks for employees for the office. Not only can they come in and notate what they did, but they can also comment on it, or they can actually add documents as needed. So that might be the receipt. They go ahead and close that. They can send the update. On your end, you're going to get notified that they updated it. Not only that, but we will see when we refresh this. It comes in and shows, hey, this is where it says purchase new desk for office. They can come in here and select, you can come in and select, okay, that was office supplies. We can see the attachment. They can actually, you can preview it, right? When we go ahead and approve this, we can either approve these in bulk or we can manually approve each one of them. So if I select these and say approve in bulk, it'll go in and start to approve each one, which then in QuickBooks, what ends up happening is if we go look at my clients, I'm going to go into Adeline's QuickBooks account. And we go look at our bank transactions. We'll see that it's updated, it's office supplies, shows Best Buy as our transaction or as our vendor, and the actual documents that we've attached will show up as well. So that was for $5,819, and that happened on the 31st. So we can see that that's where it is. It's already updated the account. If we go look at this, you see that the document that we placed in here is now attached as well. So the document of the client attached, the receipt is all showing up here. So it makes it really nice and simple for you guys. And this is something that you can turn on a client by client basis. So let's see if there's any questions around that. So Amanda looks like she's asking, often when you recategorize and uncategorize item, and attachment is provided, we need to adjust tax values and expenses. If this cannot be done through FC, we still need to go to QuickBooks to update that field. There's something is billable and to what project. So we are making adjustments to this as well. So this is just a new feature that we released. It's the very first version of it. There's going to be additional things that we're going to be adding to this, but we love the feedback. If you guys can, send that over to us. We'd love to hear more about it so that we can actually adjust those features and add the additions that we're going to need to make. So, let's see, are there any other questions around the uncategorized transactions? So there looks like there's a question about the vault. Let's see. Okay. So if there's a data breach, Amanda's question is where's the liability if the client vault data becomes compromised because of a security breach to FC? If there's any kind of client breach inside a financial sense, we're liable. So that's on us. So we've got the system set up. There's multiple different safeguards in place. And you definitely don't want to have that kind of information. Like I wouldn't want to create a field in financial sense under my client to put the like passwords and whatnot in here where your employees can see it, right? You only want that information in a secure place. That's what the vault's for. Any other questions about that though, man? I'd love to go through it one-on-one with you. So feel free, you can book time with me directly or with any one of my guys on the sales team. So moving on to the next recent feature, which is the Google Drive or OneDrive integration. So if you guys will look right over here under the integrations, we can actually create the different integrations with say like OneDrive or Google Drive. So what happens here is when you create a new client in the system, it will actually, you can tell the system to create a OneDrive or Google Drive folder for that particular client. So in this case, whenever I'm working on a particular client, I can actually see it takes me straight to their folders, right? So if I go create a brand new client, let's just create one real quick. And I'll do this manually. So let's just create, I'm going to pick somebody in the group here. So let's go with Bill. If I come in and create Bill in the platform, once I create the client, it creates the client profile for them. And then it also went ahead and created a folder for them inside of these platforms, or it created a system for it. So I've got it connected to all three. You guys probably only have it connected to one, maybe two. In this case, in Google Drive, we see that under my clients, under my clients folder in Google Drive, it created Bill's folder. And then in here, I can go and create whatever folders I want, add whatever documents I'd like. Did the exact same thing for me in OneDrive. Okay. So now under my client section, I've got a new folder for Bill. And then it'll create, I can come in and add additional folders. This is the very first iteration of this. We are going to be eventually adding it where we'll create additional folders, right? Depending on what project you're using, what template you're using. So now that I've created my client, I can go and start adding things like, hey, maybe I need to do a client onboarding. So I'll come in here and select my client onboarding project and create it for a single client. It already knows that since we're working in Bill, it knows that we're working on Bill. I can set up my start date, set up my due date. I can choose whether it was recurring or not. I can go ahead and assign my employees as well. So in this case, I'll assign Ace and let's say, let's go with Casey. So when I hit create, it creates my tasks, assigns the work to the right employees, creates my client tasks so I can go ahead and send it out. Or in the template, I could have said automatically send out this request if you want, depending on the template. So all that's going to be visible to me here. And then now I can see all that here. I can go ahead and request the information that I need to. I can go ahead and start adding in the about section. I can say add information and go ahead and start filling out these different fields. The ones that, at least the ones that are pertaining to this particular client. So Google Drive integration to OneDrive integration. This is the very first piece of it. We're also going to be adding a lot of additional functions around those, but for now, it just makes it really easy that if I do have that client in Google Drive, I can go ahead and link the clients as well. So if I already have an existing client, I want to link it to a specific folder in my Google Drive, I can go and find that folder and link it directly. Or if when I create a brand new client, it'll automatically link it for me. And it will create it in whatever folder structure you want. So, any questions around this?
Hi, George. I sent you a message in the chat.
Yes, I see
Yeah.
that, and I'm actually I'll get to that in just a second, Rachel. I want to answer Lisa's question. Is there a way to move over tasks from Asana into FC? Absolutely. We actually have a migration team that can help out with that. And piggybacking off of what Rachel was asking here with the promotions, we do have some promotions going on for this week. If you guys sign up with us this week, we are doing both a 10% off for anyone that has 2 or more users, as well as half off of our services or just free training. So we offer migration services as well as onboarding services. Those are both set for half off right now. And if you want to set it up yourself, you can absolutely do so. And right now we'll do free training for you and your team. So I believe Rachel or Casey are going to put in a link to our to the book a demo with us. You can book time with one of our account managers. We can do a one-on-one demo, or they can go through and actually help get that all set up for you. So
Yeah, and we'll be running a poll right now. The next 2 minutes, yes.
yep. So there'll be a poll that we'll go ahead and launch real quick. Let me know when you've launched that and completed it, please, Rachel.
Yes, it's live now.
Okay. Doesn't change on my end, guys, so I don't see if it updated or not. And I'm just gonna go through the question I see here from Lori. Is the client folder in OneDrive shared with the client? You can make it either way, Lori. So if you decide you want to share it with the client, you can. You can do that in OneDrive. If you want to keep it internal, you can keep it internal. Remember, inside of Financial Sense too, we do have the file section here, so you can create whatever folders you would like. And you can share those like I can come and create multiple different folders, and I can decide on specific folders if I want to share that with the client or not. So if I create that one, let's say that one, you can see this one's not currently being shared with the client, whereas this one is being shared with the client. And I can choose which ones I want to share, and I can even create subfolders inside of there. If you set up different documents inside of these, you can actually choose, like, let's say I'm not sharing this particular folder with a client. I can actually say for this particular contact, I do want to give them view only access to that one document. So even though they can't see the actual folder, I can still give them access to a specific document within a folder if I choose to, or I can give them access to the whole folder. And yeah, Lori, right now, if you sign up with us, we are doing a 10% discount on the service, as well as either free training or half off of onboarding or migration services. So if there aren't any other questions, I'll give you guys just another minute and then we can wrap it up. The shared drive integration, OneDrive, have their permissions managed through those apps, i.e. Google Drive, but the file section for within this FC has its permissions managed on FC. Those files in FC can be backed up on our platform of choice as well. So we are actually going to be setting it up. We are building it up. Yes, you can download the files that are in FC. Part of the integration, though, we are looking at the possibility of having the ability to say, if I've already integrated with Google Drive or OneDrive, automatically back up my FC files to one of those platforms. So you can do that automatic instead of having to come in and download it yourself. But you are correct. The OneDrive, Google Drive integrations, you're going to set, you got to go into OneDrive or Google Drive to share those folders with the client. In Financial Sense, you can come in here and do it. All right, you guys have a lot of great questions today. See, are you able to send proposals and engagement letters through Financial Sense? So you can actually do it through the signature piece. We have a lot of customers that do it that way, so they'll do it through Adobe Sign using Financial Sense. But we don't have like a direct, it's not like Ignition or Anchor or something along those lines. And Dale, let's see, asking if we have integrations with File Center. We don't have an integration with File Center direct right now. We do have integrations with Zapier. So if File Center does work with Zapier, we could probably set that up. But there's not a direct integration with File Center at this time. All right, and I got a good compliment on my voice. Someone said I got a great radio voice. I appreciate that, Amanda. And no, there are no storage limits on Financial Sense. So you can have a gig in here, you can have terabytes, whatever you guys have. We're not limiting you on the amount of storage in Financial Sense. So and there's not any limit to the number of clients that you have in Financial Sense, or the number of folders that you can create, or the amount of data that you're going to put in here. So. Do we need a Smart Vault subscription for document uploads to be secure? Absolutely not. We do have an integration with Smart Vault so that if you already have Smart Vault and you've got all your documents in there and you want your clients uploading through their portal, it'll work. Most of the time, actually, part of the integration with Smart Vault is that if the client uploads in our system, it will automatically push over to theirs. But you do not have to have a Smart Vault subscription in order to make, in order to be able to receive documents from your clients in a secure platform. The system that we have is actually very secure. So it's not necessary to have it. If you already have them as a document management system, we give you an easy way of being able to integrate and connect. And so Amanda's saying there is no calendar integration on FC Write with Google Calendar or other, just Mail and Drive. So as of this moment, yes, you are correct. There is the ability to have like a calendar view whenever you're looking at the workflow. So you can actually come in here and see based on, let me clear my filters here. I can see like these are the days that all my projects are due, but that is not showing me like these are the days I have appointments or I've got these things. It's not integrating with my Google Calendar yet. That is something we are working on. I don't know exactly when that would be released, but I know it is something that our development team is looking into and seeing, what we can do there. But you do have the email integration as well, which we didn't go over in detail today, but I definitely recommend hopping on to one-on-one if you want to know more about this. Just a real quick overview. You have the ability to integrate multiple email addresses. You can you'll see that the system will auto filter by client emails versus other emails. So anything that is client related is coming in here. Anything that's coming from someone other than a client comes through here, or you can see them all at the same time by clicking on all emails. If you get an email from a client, you can see that you can actually pin those emails to certain projects. It already knows who the client is, knows which projects you have open. So I can actually pin that email directly to that project. And now any of my employees that are working in this are able to see that email listed right here and any future communication. So if the client responds back, I respond, we have a lot of back and forth. The entire conversation gets pinned. You see with this one, there was a lot of back and forth, right? They'll be able to see it all right here. But yeah, no calendar integration at this time. So, all right. Well, if there's no other questions, guys, I really appreciate y'all taking the time to look through this with us. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh, there's one more. Let's see. For future features, do you plan to have separate charges, e.g. for the recategorization of the transactions or is a $4, I understand the per client. So it's hard to say for all future, to be honest with you guys. So yes, we are charging, it is $4 per client if you want to use the recategorization, but that is on a client by client basis. It's not like you have to add it to every single client. You can just add it to the ones that you need to use it for. For a feature like that, where it actually takes a lot, it's in and of itself its own tool. If you guys go look, you go to UNCAD or some of these others that do that, they charge separately for that. So we're below market value on that, but on these other future features, we have tons of features that we don't charge for, and it's just for something like that where it is a big feature, big release. Costs us a lot to build it out. That's what we have to, we do have to charge for those. And there is a question is if there is a Dropbox integration. There's not the Dropbox integration yet. It is coming. I do believe you can actually integrate it through Zapier in Financial Sense, but I need to verify that so we can take a look at that as well. So good question there, Tracy. So. All right. Well, appreciate all of y'all's time. Please let us know if you guys have any questions again in the chat. I know Casey put in the link. If you guys want a one-on-one demo, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to go through that with you guys. If you have any questions or you want to take advantage of the promotions that we're offering, reach out to us as well. So appreciate y'all's time again today, folks. Y'all have a wonderful day. And if we don't talk to you before, then have a wonderful Easter holiday or whatever you guys celebrate. Thank y'all. Have a wonderful day.